Welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be talking about Niri. I have been testing Niri for I guess a couple days. More so, I set it up over the weekend and had a full work day using it yesterday. I solely used Niri for my full workday. I was able to, take a few meetings, record my videos. I even did a live stream and did some dev work as well. So I kind of wanted to share my experience that I had with Niri. One, getting it set up, and then two, the everyday usage. I guess I'll start with like the good that I like about Niri. Once you get your full configuration set up, I feel like the workflow is top notch. I really feel like the ability to have like tiling, windows. So, I can open my file explorer and then another terminal. And if I open another one, it's going to go over here instead of opening another one within here. And then you can actually just resize these to whatever you like. I don't typically go any more than half screen. So I took out the third option. I either like two windows side by side, or I can move them like this. If I want to do that, that's another way to do it. There's a lot of flexibility with the way you want your workflow and everything to be. You can set different window rules for certain applications to open in certain sizes and things like that. So you can really customize it exactly to what you want your workflow to be, which is really nice. I definitely like the workflow and the productivity side of it. I love the way full screen apps work. So like when in gaming, this app is full screen right now, so you can see the final list is open right here, but I can just go over to the other app that's on the side, but it keeps the full screen right there. So I can just go right back to it without tabbing out or doing anything specific, and it doesn't just like go into the background and you don't see it anymore. It's always there, and you can just go to it, which I like because I use gyro controllers and Steam input. So it's really nice to go back into Steam and edit my configuration for my gyro controller and then go right back into the game with no issues and not really having to fully leave the app. And yeah, so I was actually able to have my key bindings open here and then have it open to the side like that. So when I was configuring my Steam input, I was able to have that open and have the controller input open. I don't have a controller connected right now, so it's not showing, but I was able to have both of them open at the same time and go back and forth to make sure all my bindings are good. And then you'll go right back into the game without any issues. So I really do like the way they do that. I definitely think that is a great implementation of the way that's configured. The other thing I like is the overview. The overview, I think, is the best implementation of an overview that I've seen. So it shows all of your workspaces and all the apps that you have open. This is fully working. I can still navigate through it as if I'm on the actual desktop itself. I think this is really nice to be able to go through each one of these. I can actually still move the windows just like I can if I was in the regular desktop. I really like that overview option. It's really nice to be able to see all of your, workspaces open at the same time, all of the apps that you have. If you lost something, you can find it very easily. And you really have an endless amount of capabilities as far as the workspace goes. I definitely think that's really good. I do think the configuration file is actually pretty easy. Once you get used to the syntax of like how the keybinds and stuff work, it's pretty easy to make those. So like I have some of my own, keybinds down here. So for, Thunar to open, it's just mod F, put it in the brackets and spawn Thunar. Pretty straightforward, not too difficult. The documentation in here is actually really good. By default, all this was already here. So you're able to see exactly what you're working with, how to change things and how things work within it, and it gives you the defaults already created. They made it very easy to come in here and understand without having to go back and forth to documentation. It's all in the actual configuration. One config, unlike a lot of Hyprland configurations. I'm not sure if you can source out in Niri. I haven't tried it and don't really need to because the configuration file is not that big. It's pretty easy to manage. Within here, I was able to get all my monitors and stuff set up pretty easily. This is where the proportions I was talking about, the custom or preset widths that you can change. If I do that, I can switch the width automatically, and it's just going through these three different presets. It had one before this. I think it was like a third width by default, but I never really used that half width thing. If I really need to, I can just resize the window to get it to where I want it and then open up whatever other window I want from there. I just love that it has the capability of changing those proportions and really customizing exactly what you want your desktop to look like. I think those are like the main, pros. Customizing it's pretty similar to like customizing a Hyprland desktop, and I'm using a Waybar. Like I have, Rofi as my app launcher. Not a lot of that actually changed. A lot of that actually still is part of my original config. I didn't have to really customize or configure any of that because it was already in my Hyprland config. When I launched Niri, the Waybar automatically, opened, and I did have to set the wallpaper with the, I think it's SWWW. Yeah, so I do the startup, spawn at startup, and then SWW daemon, and then have the picture that I wanted to spawn there. So that automatically sets the picture on there. One thing that I will say is, as far as the screen sharing support, it said start WLR for screen sharing support. I did have that initially, but I did not have the GTK. So I had some issues with not being able to have my file explorer open. Like when I'm clicking to share a file in Discord or upload a thumbnail in YouTube, I had some issues with that by not having that one. So I actually did have to have both, but it didn't explain that. I figured it out I think I asked somebody in my Discord or tried to figure it out and was able to get that portion figured out. It was a little bit of a headache in the beginning, trying to understand why it wasn't working. So yeah, I really think this is a great configuration. Will I be using it full time? I don't know yet. I'll probably use it at least for the rest of this week and see if I like it. I'm not sure if I'm liking it more than Hyprland, but it's definitely a close second, if not there. There's really not much that doesn't work. I've tried everything. I streamed, did video calls with screen sharing, all my audio and devices work. Really didn't have any issues there. You do have to have that satellite, I forgot what it's called, like Wayland satellite thing that makes it so you can run X11 apps as well. So as long as you have that, you really don't have any issues there. So compatibility wise, there really isn't a ton of issues. It doesn't have great compatibility with what you can do with your window rules, especially with transparency. I tried to make like my browser and stuff transparent like I was able to do on Hyprland, but certain ones are just not compatible with making, transparent, with like the browser being specifically one of those. And I actually couldn't even make my text editor fully transparent either. So yes, you do have some limitations as far as that goes, but I'm sure those things will be fixed as time goes on. I think it's definitely worth trying if you haven't tried it out yet. It is in a pretty good state as long as you put those things together that I mentioned, as far as having both the desktop portal, GTK, and WLR options on startup, and then making sure that you have the, actually don't even remember exactly what that's called. Let me see if I can find it real quick for you. Wayland satellite installed. In order for you to have Wayland apps, stuff like Discord and some other apps, to be able to open, then you do have to have that to have them open natively onto the system. But overall, I think it's a pretty good experience. I'm definitely glad that I actually tried it. I've been talking about it for a while now, but I actually tried it and have been using it. So I'm going to finish using it for the rest of the week. Might do a comparison video or maybe a video saying which one I end up going with. For now, I'll give it a shot. And let me know what you guys think about Niri in the comments below. I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.